Some of you have been to my show on Blog TV. I do a show on Blog TV, a live show with video and interact with people on a chat room and all that kind of stuff. I do that usually on Friday nights. And there's one guy who's been coming for quite a long time, and his name is Calvin. Calvin is a self-proclaimed atheist, and I don't remember the first time we met. I guess he was just surfing channels and ended up coming across mine and started kind of talking about these issues. And ever since he's pretty much come to every show that I've had. And so I call him Calvin the Atheist, and he's from the UK. He's in the military, and we've just become what I think is really great friends. I mean, we've never met face-to-face yet. Hopefully this year we will. But we just really, have a conversation. We say, yeah, we can disagree on some things, but, we're still able to be friends. We're able to talk about these issues and figure out, we're able to doubt together. We're able to talk about stuff. We're able to talk about faith together. And so, we've talked about these issues of atheism and atheism is kind of like this touchy subject with Christians. It's always that thing where they're kind of worried to talk about it because, hey, we believe in God. And yet these people over here, they don't believe in God. And so that's like the antithesis as to what I am, because it's the exact opposite of who I am, what I believe in, what I stand for. And so sometimes we don't like to talk about atheism, and we don't like to go into what that means and how to even discuss it, or what it means for an atheist that God loves them. There's so many people who know of this one guy, and his name is Richard Dawkins, and he's written a book called The God Delusion. He's written a couple books. That's the most famous of them, The God Delusion. And in his book, I have not read the book yet, but in his book he talks about, he says a quote, something like this. He says, we're all atheists, is what he says in his book. He says, we're all atheists because, many of us, we do not believe in Zeus. We don't believe in this God and that God. And he says, I just take it one God further. And so he makes this claim that we're all atheists, but he takes it one God further, the God of the Bible. So he tries to make it so we're all on the same page. And he gets this interesting argument there. To an extent, if he wants to say it that way, yes, we are atheists because, we're not believing that Zeus is real, or that, that we're going to be worshiping him or believing in the things of Zeus. But here's a far more interesting argument. So many times, I think, if you were to ask an atheist, what is God like? Obviously they wouldn't say that there is a God, but what is your idea, if there were a God, what is your idea of God like? And they would start to talk about an entity, a being, that would sound very unfamiliar with the God that I'm familiar with. And very shortly, we would find out, I don't believe in that God either. And so, maybe it's not the fact, that atheists are against the God of the Bible. Maybe they just don't know the God of the Bible. Maybe they've been told by televangelists or, this person or that person what God is like. And in reality, it's not the kind of God that Jesus talked about. It's not the kind of God that Jesus was. There's so many different scriptures that talk about God. So many different things. I mean, the whole Bible, that's what the whole Bible is focused on. I mean, even when it's talking about different characters, it's talking about their relationship to God and what happened to them because they follow God or they didn't follow God, or their doubts or their questions. The whole Psalms is full of questions. And yet sometimes we like to look at atheists and say, I don't like that you are questioning that there's a God. And yet we have David asking questions all the time. God, how could you allow this? Where were you? Maybe the Bible is about questions. Maybe this walk of Christianity is about questions. Not that we become atheists and say, well, there is no God, but to the point where we say, what is our God like? And when we figure this out, when we figure out what our God is like, we figure out that God really is good news. And for many atheists, when they start to tell you their ideas of God, they say, God is the kind of person that hates homosexuals. God is the kind of person who hates people who have had abortions. God is the person who does this and does that. And you start to realize it really has nothing to do with the God that is portrayed in the person of Jesus. And so when you start to look at it, you start to realize, I don't believe in that God either. And so really, to me, it comes down to the reality that all of us are searching for love. All of us are searching for something. And so many times we can get it wrapped up in the wrong things. And so many people have done the same thing for God. So many people have looked at God and said, oh, you know what? It's just not, I can't believe it. But maybe they're not looking at the real God. Maybe they're looking at some form of something that has been twisted over the years. Think about that. I want you guys to really think about that and think about the reality of who God actually is.